I'm walking through a ghost town, y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong, don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page, but we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay, Mississippi racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi racer riding out till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay, red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Birds Deep. It's Victory Thursday. Since we do our shows on Thursday, got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to dissect. Good, bad, the ugly. A lot more good this time and a lot less ugly. But, you know, there was still some ugly. So, to my right, I got Cool McCain over here. Tell them about your show, Wednesday nights. Wait, is your show still Wednesday nights, Eagle Elite Podcast?
Eagle Elite Podcast. You can see it behind me. Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. EST. Go to YouTube, search for @Eagles Elite Podcast, and you in there.
You got me, the Godfrey, THEEGODFREY. You know, you can catch me here. You can catch me on Sideline to Sideline. And to my left, you got Gene. Wednesday nights, wire to wire, all over the place. But tell them who you are, Gene.
Mean! Woo! Gene.
So we got a lot to take Birds Deep this week. As usual, we'll fit it in a timely hour for you guys. But I think we'll probably let's jump right into the grades as we usually do. Unless anybody has somebody pressing opening statements that we probably will get into throughout the show anyway. But
I just want to say, no Diddy with the taking it deep.
No Diddy. Yeah, no Diddy. Well, I don't have any I don't have nearly as much lotion and all that stuff he had. I don't know how true that stuff is, but the numbers I hear are astounding. So that's a whole nother show. It's crazy.
I got one thing I want to say. Peyton Turner is an absolute scumbag. If you don't know who Peyton Turner is, you should know who he is. Absolute scumbag for New Orleans Saints, piece of garbage. And I hope that man gets a career-ending injury.
Boom. I kind of second that motion. And if you guys don't know what he's talking about, refs took too long to blow the whistle. And he basically headhunted Devontae Smith, and he's got a concussion. Probably ain't playing this week. I haven't seen an update. I'm going to assume he's not. So, and it's an unnecessary concussion. Sometimes you're going to get them in the motion of the game, but that's one that he shouldn't have to have on his record to, it shouldn't have happened. And then he spit on him. And then, yeah. So, listen, the bad guys lost that day because they were being. That team has a rep. A lot of those players have a rep. Demario Davis has a rep. So does Lattimore. Those dudes got a rep. Okay. And they got smacked in their house. And that's didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. But I did predict the win. We all did, but didn't think it was going to be like that. But we'll jump into that. So the grades, I guess you guys want to go defense with Fangio or offense with Moore first?
I feel like the conversation is going to kick off a lot more with the offense. So I'd love to start with the defense if you're all right with that. Can I start with it too?
Sure.
I will start and give the defense an A++. I think this is the best defensive performance I've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles in a year and a half. And I mean every word of that, right? Dumbass Sirianni put the Philadelphia Eagles defense in terrible situations multiple times in this football game, and the defense responded. Special teams put the Eagles in a tough situation this game. And guess what? They allowed one touchdown to the highest scoring team in the league. I give the defense an A++. Jalen Carter was unblockable. He was the number one interior defender against the pass in the NFL this past week. So I give Vic Fangio and this defense an A++.
Yeah. I second that motion. Jalen Carter. I mean, Jalen Carter was a wrecking machine. The D line did a great job. Brandon Graham made some plays. Zach Bond coming up, helping to stuff the run. This was a team that scored a lot of points the 2 weeks before, and the Eagles brought them back down to earth. And you're seeing the Vic Fangio scheme, I think, finally, start to take flight. I still think there's some work to be done, but I can never complain when the defense only gives up 12 points. And that 1 touchdown, 2 field goals, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't have a problem with that at all. If they could do that every week, I mean, you're in every game. So that is Jalen Carter was like, the announcers were like, why is he mad? Well, he was defending his teammate. He was mad because they were talking trash and it was war out there. I'm going to war with that guy. And that was a great performance by him. I mean, you really got to see like the dude's potential like really come alive. I mean, you've seen dominant games from before, but he just destroyed their whole offensive game plan. I mean, he's the key to the defense that week. I mean, there's nothing there's a dude coming up the middle, coming in the interior like that. There's nothing you can do. I don't care who you are. It's almost indefensible. So I love that. A++ for me. What do you say, Cool?
I would 100% agree with the grade. I mean, I would say 2 years. We haven't seen the Eagles defense look that good in 2 years, over a year and a half. I would also say there was a certain person on this panel right now in the middle that was talking about Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter last week. And I would say I told that person what was going to happen. And I will say that I was right, patting myself on the back. Good job, Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis with a sack. He's not even there to really support the pass, but got a sack because he heard all of y'all talking heads running your mouth. So now you can zip it. The man is a stud. He will be a piece of our future. And he's going to keep playing the way he's playing beside his boy, Jalen Carter. And also shout out to Nolan Smith because he's getting in the game and he's starting to make plays. He's starting to hit people. People have been talking bad about him too. They hear, right? These are younger guys. They're on social media. They hear it. They hear their own fan base, people supposed to be supporting them talking trash, and you're just motivating them. So actually, thank you.
I'm glad they're not having a Kenneth Gainwell reaction and they're having a different reaction or a Jalen Reagor reaction. So
Jalen Reagor was soft before then.
Yeah. So if it motivates him, I'm here for it. But yeah, listen, I'm glad that they're living up their potential. There's still a guy though that I'm hoping that he lives up to his potential too. I haven't seen it yet, but we'll see.
I don't think he is going to. I told you a couple weeks ago, and I told you last week. I said a couple weeks ago, hey, they were playing on paint. Let me see what he looks like at the home turf. They were playing a good Atlanta Falcons offensive line. Let me see what he looks like on carpet. Bro, 3 straight weeks, Bryce Huff has been an absolute no-show. He is getting
Bryce Huff has made as many plays as me.
He is being blocked by backup tight ends.
Yeah,
just for the hell of it, because I'm that petty of a guy. And like I said, PFF grades aren't the end all be all, but once again, out of the 4 edge rushers, the lowest graded PFF edge rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles, Bryce Huff. Pass rush 56.8, run defense 48.6 for an overall grade of a 53.2. And the number 1 rated Eagles edge rusher, once again, old man Brandon Graham, with an overall rating of 80. Guys, oh man, is it time to bash Howie? 3 weeks in, and we already know.
I mean, if you look at that Jets defense, what's the guy's last name? McDonald has about 5 sacks so far.
Will McDonald.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was a blue chip prospect coming in, if I'm not mistaken.
He was
right?
First, second round. Yes.
Oh, he was okay. So Huff was an unsigned free agent, I believe, or he was a late round pick. He wasn't a high round draft pick, right? Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff was late round draft pick.
Right.
Here's what I'll say: when you take as many chances as Howie does, you bring in as many people, you're gonna hit a couple of bad ones. A bad one, we don't want a bad one to be a guy that's getting paid what Bryce Huff is getting paid.
Facts.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is because I feel like everyone else is playing well, at least okay. Bryce Huff, he's got to figure it out, or we got to hope that there's some clause in there that after this year we can get rid of him if he doesn't improve.
Well, your out is
I'll-
2026 on him in the
I'll
contract.
still give
Three-year
him.
deal.
I'll still give him a little bit of time, right? Because some players just need a little bit more time. He hadn't really played. The other part that concerned me, and I even said this when we signed him, he hadn't played a lot as a player, right? He had done well in situations, but he wasn't expected to be an every down player. We took a chance because this was cheaper long term than keeping Hassan Reddick, and obviously it hasn't worked. But I mean, there'll be guys out there to get because some teams are already sucking. So there'll be guys out there that we could probably grab, you know. So we'll see how things continue to play out throughout the season. But as of right now, definitely disappointed in Huff, 1,000%.
Want to give credit to Ed Reed Blankenship. I'm kidding. Reed Blankenship.
Oh God.
Not
I'm
Ed
kidding.
Reed Blankenship.
I'm kidding. But I want to give credit to Reed Blankenship. He was number 3 overall graded safety in the league and the number 2 overall graded Philadelphia Eagle this week. PFF's rankings. Reed Blankenship played great safety. Quinyon Mitchell has been awesome on the outside. I'm excited to see where this defense heads. But I think we should close the chapter on the defense right now because there's enough gloating, enough being happy because there's enough to bitch about.
Well, yeah. Well, I will say Huff's number is appropriate. I believe it's 0 that he's wearing, and they do have an out after 2 years. But how he can't swing and miss like that, the more every week that goes by, it feels like a Howie Roseman, I'm smarter than the rest of the room move. Really, to be honest, I mean, I just. It's not a ton of money, but like, come on, man. Like you got to do better than that. So we'll see. Maybe if Fangio being there could turn him into something and he could realize the guy's potential, but it ain't looking good so far. So that's the only complaint I have about the defense. But luckily Jalen Carter's a beast and he could just, you got Jordan Davis Carter and, Nolan Smith and, Brandon Graham still playing like he wants to be on the field. Good thing we have that,
And don't forget Milton Williams. Let's not leave him out.
That's true. He was a maligned draft pick that year. A lot of people were like, "Who?" But he has shown up.
He has shown up. He has risen.
So we want to go offense now, right?
We can go head coach. We can go offense coordinator. I don't care what you go here.
Well,
or head coach offense or Jalen Hurts.
Go offense. So I'll go. I'm going to give them. They won obviously, but they're getting a C- from me. For a lot of reasons. I know Devontae Smith got hurt and all that, but this is a thing I see across the NFL, but this isn't in my backyard. Sirianni is definitely trying to prove some kind of point here. He's the smartest guy in the room. He could do it, whatever it may be. But if you're going to be that guy that goes for it, at least be consistent with your philosophy. Then don't go, you know what? I think we're going to uncork Jake Elliott on a 60-yard field goal here. Let's do that. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So that's why the grade's so low for me. I mean, I would have liked more points. Yeah, they came up when they needed to in the big time. But I realized you don't have AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith got hurt, but that was later on. But the going for it on 4th down, and then they're like, you know what? Let's fake a tush push. Like what are we doing? And I'm miffed by it, and that's definitely got to be Sirianni overruling. And overruling Kellen Moore, in my opinion, in that situation.
We'll talk about that. Cool. We do have a guest, though, joining us, and I would love you to do the honors of introducing our guest.
Absolutely. So if you watch my show on Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. EST, as Real Play, the Eagles League podcast on YouTube, you know who this is over here. The Eagles Diva, one of my 2 co-hosts on Eagles Elite Podcast. Devout Eagles fan, strong opinionated female Eagles fan, watches the sport, knows are Eagles. So hey, she's here with us.
What's happening? Welcome to the show, Eagles Diva.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm glad to join you fellas to talk about some Eagles football.
And she's joining at a great
audience
place. A great place.
Real quick though, before we get into our offensive grades for Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni, we did just break down the defense, and I would love your overall thoughts on the defense. Eagles Diva, we grade them. It's letter grades, letter right from school. So what's your thought on the Eagles defensive grade?
This week I'm gonna give them an A. They showed up and they showed out. They actually got pressure on the quarterback. They stopped the running game, unlike the week before last. So I was really impressed with the attitude change from when we played the Falcons, then when we played the Saints. I mean, you watch the Saints the past 2 games, and they basically blew each team out. But when they came to Philadelphia, we didn't allow Allen Kamara to even get off like he did the last 2 games. We actually got pressure on Derek Carr, and when you get pressure on Derek Carr, you see who the real Derek Carr is, and we were able to actually expose him for who he is, especially when he played for the Raiders. So I was really happy that we were able to make adjustments and really bring that dog attitude that we normally have and bring it to that game. Because if we didn't, the way the offensive played the first 2 quarters, then it just would have been a terrible game. So I give them an A.
Will the real Derek Carr please stand up? 217 total yards for the Saints overall. Offense, defense played a great part. Godfrey, you were just giving us your grade on the Eagles head coaching staff / offensive coordinator. We put Sirianni and Kellen Moore in a blender together. We're going to give them, even though Sirianni is bumping in a lot of those decisions, we're putting them in the same blender. What grade did you give the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator / head coach?
I give him a D- this week. Because when you need to
No
take
Diddy.
the points, when you need to take the points, take the points. Like we would have been up maybe a touchdown and a half. We would at least took the points and then didn't put Jake Elliott in a position to kick a 60-yard. Like, don't get me wrong, he's got a leg, but you can't always put him in that situation where he feel like he got to make a 60 or 61 yarder. You got a running back who's a beast. Use your running back. Like, use him to his full potential. And I give them a D because we always abandon the running game. Why would you go out and get Saquon Barkley if you're not going to use him in red zone situations and situations where you need to get 3 and 4 yards, yet you want to pass the ball? So it's a D for me.
I mean, I don't think Saquon Barkley had that great of a game. What did he run? 8.6 yards per carry? I mean, it's got to be 10, right? If you don't know, I'm trolling. The guy had 17 carries for 147 yards. Absolutely continue giving him the football.
Yes.
That's more.
What grade did you give the Eagles?
I give him a C-. A C-. I just
got a D.
Yeah, C- all day. It's a blender of confusion. I think Kellen Moore is the one that's probably responsible for Saquon disappearing. I could totally see him doing that. I've seen him do it as a play call on other teams. And the fourth down stuff is definitely Nick Sirianni for sure.
I disagree with you on the play calling. I think that as a whole, their play calling was great for the structure in which they had. I'll talk about that in a second, but I give just the play calling, not the decision making. Every decision that Nick Sirianni made / Kellen Moore made in that game, every big decision was wrong. Oh, you can't go 0 for 4. You cannot go 0 for 4. And look, when he called the time, I really believe that when he called the timeout at the end of the first half, he's like, oh, shit, now I got to go for it. Like, what did you want to do? You want to do the tush push and then use your third timeout and then have Jalen Hurts throw the ball into the end zone twice with 12 seconds left? Like, what was the thought process for going for it at the end of the first half? If you just let the clock run down, kick the field goal, you tie at the half, it's 3-3. You go into the half with the defense knowing we dominated the first half of this game. It's 3-3. We left 6 points on the board, but we'll get them back. But no, he called the timeout. He goes, oh, damn, I got to go for it now. That's what he did. That's exactly what happened in that scenario. Wrong decision. And the decision to kick a 60-yard field goal. Let me put you back in that position for a minute. The Philadelphia Eagles attempt to kick a 60-yard field goal. It was 7-6. The Eagles were winning the football game 7-6 when he attempted to kick the 60-yard field goal. So let's do the math, right? So instead of allowing them to go 70 yards to get a touchdown, if you make the field goal, let's say everything plays out perfectly. They got to go 70 yards to get in to score a touchdown to take the lead. It would have been 10-6. What do they, if they punt the football there on 4th and 17, they punt the football there, and they pin them at the 10-yard line, they got to go 60 yards to kick a field goal. What are we talking about? Punt the football, rely on your defense. Then you give them a short field. They go down and score. They take the lead. Thank God the Saints players decided they wanted to run into each other on 3rd and 16 and allow Dallas Goedert. By the way, have y'all seen the mic'd up of Jordan Mailata watching Dallas Goedert run down the sideline? That shit is hilarious.
Yes.
I think Jordan Mailata might be able to beat him in a straight up race. I mean, I'm
He
That's
said,
what
run,
players can.
take the refrigerator off your back.
So,
he said,
I'm
unhook
gonna
the
give him a
trailer,
flat
unhook
out
the trailer,
D.
son.
Flat
I'm
out
gonna
D.
give him a flat out D. Very disappointing play call and situational. You talk about the fourth and 17. Why in the fudge are we in 4th and 17?
Facts.
That's the kind of thing that pisses me off. There's no reason. You start off at 1st and 10. It took you 3 plays to lose 7 yards. That's the kind of crap that pisses me off. You know, we talk about this all the time on Eagles Elite. Run the freaking ball. 1st and 10. You run the ball, Saquon gets 3 or 4 yards. Now you're in 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6. You want to throw a bubble screen, you want to do a little slant or something like that, get to a manageable 3rd down. If the 3rd down doesn't work, we still can kick a field goal. But instead, we lose 7 yards because we're trying to go for it all. And now we end up kicking a ridiculously long field goal that's unnecessary. Should have punted like Gene said, but we shouldn't even been in that situation to begin with. They're only getting a D because there's 2 halves of football. If they played in the first half, like they played in the second half, I'd have gave them a G.
I gave them a C. I gave them a C, and the only reason I gave them a C is because they still gained 462 yards. I felt like outside the poor decision making, the offensive scheme was actually really well. Like I think they scheme play without AJ Brown, and then they lose Devontae Smith, and then you lose Lane Johnson, and then you lose Tyler Steen. Like to have no offensive right side of your offensive line, no number 1 receiver, no number 2 receiver, and to still be able to put up 400 and some yards in that football game, I felt like Kellen Moore's play calling was very good. I blame a lot of that on Sirianni's decision making, and that's what drops them down to a C for me. But like if they make the right decision on the 3 times for field goals before the 4th time when they didn't take the field goal, when they decide they want to kick a 60-yard field goal, add 9 points to what the Philadelphia Eagles had at that point. We're not in that situation. We're definitely punting the football. We're up 9. Like what are we doing? It's such an easy concept, but with all things said and done, I give them a C. Let's move on to Jalen Hurts. I'll start here and then we'll move around the horn. Jalen Hurts gets a C- for me. He gets actually a lower score than the play call because 2 ridiculous turnovers. And I'm gonna point this out to you guys. And I know you guys know it. I know you guys see it because I see it and I watch it every week. Jalen Hurts has a passing in the red zone efficiency error. He is they are scared of him passing the ball in the red zone. He is not good at passing into traffic. And that decision, granted, Devontae Smith takes some of the blame for that interception that goes in the end zone. It's not a route for Devontae Smith. He should not be in a jump ball situation against Tyrann Mathieu to where he's going to get either leveled or the ball is going to get intercepted. Jalen Hurts' decision-making and turnovers have to stop. They got to stop turning the football over as a whole. I give Jalen Hurts a C-, and I wish I could make it higher. Each turnover brings me down a half a grade. I would love to give him a B. I think he could be a B, but the turnovers can't happen. I give Jalen Hurts a C-. Where are you at, Eagles Diva?
I'm gonna give him a B-. My problem with Jalen is he holds the ball too long. It's 1, 2, 3 release. If you don't see anybody open, then you tuck the ball and you run. That the interception that he had, which kind of remind me of week 1, Jalen gets honed in on certain targets. And once he gets honed in on that target, that's who he wants to constantly go to. Now, Devontae is not as big as AJ. He's small. So why would you even lead him into that traffic where, for one, he's going against Tyrann Mathieu? He's a small body, so you can't expect him to really catch that ball. That should have been going to either Goddard or Dotson or even running the ball. I feel like when you in red zone situations or close to the red zone, you should always run the ball. That is my theory. Unless you feel like unless it's a third down and you feel like you have to pass the ball. But
Real quick on that play, I don't want you to miss this part. On that play, I watched it on the all 22. That play is designed to go to Jahan Dotson. He did not trust Jahan Dotson, and he threw the ball to Devontae Smith there. That play was 100% designed to go to Jahan Dotson, and it was there.
Right.
And talking about the interception? Interception?
Yes.
And that's
the watch on all 22. He's wide open.
Right. And that's the point. Like when he doesn't trust you, like of course he trusts Devontae, of course he trusts AJ, but you got other players on the team. You know what I'm saying? And you know AJ is not a big body. So Devontae's not a big body. So that ball should never went to Devontae, period, to put him in that situation. All right. And then the other problem I had was you're running the ball. Why would you run the ball with it in your hand loosely? Like you should have had that thing tucked for them to even just pop out of your hand and then you lose it. He's just got to be better at throwing the ball. If you know they're not open and there's too much traffic, do not throw. And then the other problem I have is he's always looking at his target. Like he never fakes and look at somebody else and then throw it to a different person. Like he's always looking at his target. So they know, okay, well, let's cover Devontae because he's going to go to Devontae. Let's cover AJ. He's going to go to AJ. But of course, AJ is a little bit more, bigger, so he can fight off a couple of defenders. So it's different. But you got to start trusting all of your players on the team. Don't just keep going to specific players like week 2 when he kept going to Britton Covey when Jahan Dotson was open. Dallas Goedert was open. And I'm glad that we were actually able to force to use Dallas Goedert this week because a lot of people were hurt. Dallas Goedert should be always implemented more in that offensive play than what he is. And that's my other problem. He don't spread the ball. Like you have all these weapons, but you're just focused on 2 or 3 people. And of course, people start to figure out who you're going to go to, so they cover them. So for me, he gets a B-. I mean, he did play a little bit better. He was actually able to get us down the field. But he's got to be more smart with his decision making and scanning the field. Like he does not scan the field well to me. He only looks for certain people. If they're not open, he will hold the ball. To me, he's got the Nick Foles syndrome. He will hold that ball until you get open, and then he end up losing yards or getting sacked, or they even have to, take off and run if he can run. So it's okay to throw the ball away. If nobody's open, you can't run it, throw it away. You're not losing yards. You don't have a chance of fumbling the ball, losing the ball, throw it away. Like it's 1, 2, 3 release. Stop holding the ball for hours and decades. Like you're not Tom Brady. You can't hold the ball that long. So for me, he gets a B-.
That's a lot of negatives. Still give him a B though. It was nice of you.
I was actually saying the same thing.
Yeah, cool. Let us know where your grade's at.
I'm giving him a C. I'm giving him an F for the first half and a B+ for the second half. So I'm gonna give him a C. And the reason is the Jalen Hurts from the first half should have been thrown in the trash can. That was garbage play. Now, granted, even on the interception, play calling has to be taken into account for that. Devontae Smith should not be putting a route while he's running across the end zone in the red zone at his size. That's who puts them in position. That's the play caller. Now, decision making, Jalen Hurts should not throw that ball. So they're both to blame to me for that interception. But I'm giving it to the quarterback because you threw that ball. If you don't want to throw it, Dotson, you don't want to throw it, you don't want to make that throw, run the ball. Or here's a crazy thought, y'all. Audible to a run play. I mean, I've seen people do it. Maybe it works. Sarcasm, of course. He's got to be better at understanding situational football. I 100% agree. Jalen Hurts is not the guy you want throwing the ball in the end zone from 3 to 5 yards away. No. Unless you're going like to the corner or somebody fights gets open or you have a big guy like Goddard or AJ Brown. Every once in a while, he can get a nice one there. But for the most part, that's not what you want him doing. That's why you got Saquon. That's why you got Don't Gainwell. That's why you got Will Shipley. That's why you have yourself. I don't like called run plays for Hurts, but I like when he sees things break down and he makes the run. I'll give y'all a little something that I thought of. You know what the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes is? They tell Mahomes, you look at 2 people. If they're not there, take off or throw the ball away. They tell Jalen Hurts, you wait till the guy gets open and you stay in the pocket and you be strong. And he gets sacked. That's the difference, in my opinion. Same amount of turnovers this season. But one guy seems to do it at the wrong times, or same amount of interceptions, excuse me, let me not say turnovers. Same amount of interceptions. One guy has the green light. You see it. It's not there. You either throw the ball away or you run. One guy is expected to sweep the whole field like he's that type of quarterback every play. The team has to learn how to use Jalen Hurts properly. And that's on coaching, because Jalen Hurts does need to improve, but you know the quarterback that you have right now. And if you want to win right now, you have to play to his strengths. But he only gets a C.
Okay, Godfrey, where you at?
I'm at a C plus. I agree with Cool, but I kind of disagree. I mean, I'll bring this up on our counter for Green a little bit later, but you know, he's being efficient as far as completion percentage, 76, 75%. I expected some turnovers this year going to the Kellen Moore offense. I think it's forcing him to make more reads on the field. I do think he locks on a receiver. And I like that you brought up the all 22 point, Gene, because he's going to have to use Jahan Dotson this week. And when he does that and goes to, you know, Slim Reaper or goes to AJ, he's going to his comfort zone. He's not challenging himself, right? Like that's where he's comfortable taking that risk. And Smitty shouldn't even have had the ball thrown to him. It should have been thrown to Jahan Dotson. Like, I mean,
that's what the play was designed for.
And by the way,
which makes me like not question. I keep questioning Jahan Dotson like he's doing something wrong in Philadelphia.
I don't think he is.
I don't. I think Jalen locks on the players. And like you noticed that Dallas Goedert didn't see it in. You know, it's funny. This is a bad week for you, but it's a great week that you're admitting that where you're at. Because I remember I seen your post on Facebook about Dallas Goedert and your apology letter to him because you thought Dallas Goedert was really just the issue. He wasn't getting open. And now when you see the A.J. Brown's out and then Devontae Smith's out, the next player he locks in on was Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, 10 receptions, 170 yards. He was unbelievable. So it's not Dallas Goedert that's the issue. It's Jalen and his progressions. Again,
yes, no, he's got to. I think the Kellen Moore offense is going to challenge him at going through his progressions. And, you know, I hate to do this comparison, you know, to the Eagles audience, but if you do look at Dak Prescott, when he started to get into the Kellen Moore offense more, it did force him to make more progressions and more reads and become a better passer. Yeah, you're going to have some turnovers for sure. But I'm not saying he's like Dak Prescott, but I'm looking at the Kellen Moore offense as a whole. And that's the real sample size we got to go with because, you know, he's got to have to throw to different receivers. He's going to have to throw to the Dodsons and the Goddards, not when they're just the only ones available. And I think he's growing into that. I see differences from last year to this year, especially when it comes to the passing game. There's going to be some mistakes. I'm telling you, there's going to be some trial and error. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it can't happen in the red zone. They definitely got to take those situations away from him. And they got to tell him, like, hey, man, if the play's designed for Dotson, you got to go there. Because remember, here's the thing about Jahan Dotson. His rookie year, he had a lot of touchdowns. He had a nose for the end zone. And I'm pretty sure they were thinking that because he had a nose for the end zone and the red zone. I think it was 7 touchdowns in his rookie year. He didn't do so well in the second year because there was a lot of calamity in Washington that second year he was there. But, you know, that's what I saw Jahan Dotson coming to the Eagles. I was thinking about situations like that, right? And he was catching balls from guys like Carson Wentz and other journeymen. So he's definitely got to challenge himself and involve these other players that are on the team because there are going to be times when Smitty can't be there or A.J. Brown can't be there. And, you know, that's why, you know, those kind of turnovers, man, I don't want to see forced turnovers. Turnovers are going to happen. I don't want to see forced turnovers. And that's what he has to stop is the forced turnover. He's got to get better at playing what the defense gives you, right? And they gave him that play. He just didn't take it. You know what I mean? It was like an auto default. Like, oh, shit. You know, Devontae Smith, let's go. You know what I mean? And who knows? Maybe Smitty was even surprised that he was even coming to him. We don't know that. That's speculation on my part. But, you know, listen, that's why he's getting a C- with me. And, you know, I do think there's a lot of positives. It's just going to be it's going to be a bumpy road, man. This is a different type of offense they're challenging him with. It's definitely not the same.
But I get it. I don't feel like that. I think the offense challenging him is a good thing. I feel like
I do too. I want that.
And like Kellen Moore's offense throughout his entire career, somebody mentioned something earlier about, I think it was you, Godfrey, talking about they go away from the run. They do not. Kellen Moore's offense was the Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott offense, where both guys had 1,000 yards rushing. That's what it's built around. It's built around zone stretch plays. It's built around being able to play off play action, but it's also built around going through your progressions. And Jalen Hurts has not done a good job going through his progressions. Through 3 weeks of the NFL season, he's the 24th ranked quarterback. He's one step ahead of Daniel Jones, who's 25. And I get it. We don't want to look at Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts in the same cup. But as far as the way they're playing quarterback, you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he'll run the ball, but there's situations where I saw him go away from the run as an OC when you're like, well, what's that? You know what I mean? And I still think they should have gave some more handoffs to Saquon. I just, especially in red zone.
They asked Nick this week on 94 WIP. They asked him this week about, like, how are you concerned with giving Saquon too much touches? Because he's on pace for over 500 touches, which would, I mean, that would be more than anyone's gotten in the last 3 years. So I don't think Saquon's not touching the ball enough. I think that they need to get Gainwell and Shipley involved in the running game to be able to take some touches off of Saquon, to be able to run the ball as much or more, but actually not just beat the hell out of Saquon Barkley.
Is Shipley though ready for that? Can he pick up the pass protection? Where's his pitch?
Right now,
we're not gonna find out until we see him. We're not gonna find out when we're playing special teams.
Right. And I feel like he can. I mean, if anybody watched Shipley when he was with Clemson, that's what he did. I mean, that's exactly what he did. So, yeah, I mean, I believe you just got to give it to him. If you're not going to trust him with it, you're not going to find out. You trust Gainwell.
It's not like we drafted a sophomore or freshman coming out of college. Will Shipley was a 5-year senior. Will Shipley's like 24 years old. It's not like a young running back coming out. This guy is a veteran on a team that went to the college football playoffs before.
Mm-hmm. So, and he played well.
Yeah.
Real well.
So
yeah, I wonder why they're not giving Gainwell more touches then. You know, I mean,
because he don't Gainwell.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, you know, you're right. I mean, he's gained a little bit this year, but I mean, he's not a big dude. I mean, so Gainwell can easily be shut down. I mean, you use him in certain situations when you want to get little holes here and there. But Gainwell's not somebody I would put Shipley over Gainwell. Gainwell's not somebody I would constantly use.
I feel like I was the only person on the planet that wants Boston Scott over Garrett Gainwell.
Man, listen, I love Boston Scott, and he should have been used a lot more last year, but wasn't.
They could have picked him back up. He got waived recently. I think someone picked him up. Didn't he get waived?
If they had picked him up, they would have got rid of Shipley. They wouldn't have got rid of Gainwell.
I know,
because they have this weird obsession with Gainwell.
Because he does good in training.
But see, my thing is
training we can't see, so they say.
Maybe Shipley's that guy, but you gotta show it in practice too. So I don't know what they're doing in practice, but I always question when they draft a guy and they'll put him on the field. Why is it? You know, is it because Gainwell's his favorite? Because he's got a Gainwell shirt on
in practice and everything. Then I don't think he would be the third running back.
But who else is there?
There were other guys. They didn't pick him up or keep him because they kept him.
Right.
Yeah, I just think Eagles roster construction wise over the last couple of years have made depth mistakes at receiver. Recently, not recently, but before that. And
speaking about receiver, man, we got 3 receivers on the IR and 2 receivers missing. We have 5 receivers that are going to be out this week. Now, granted, Jacob Harris is not somebody that he's on IR for, for other reasons. Exactly. Britton Covey on IR, Aeneas Smith, 4th-round draft pick on IR. AJ Brown looks like he'll miss another game going into the bye. Devontae Smith has not cleared concussion protocol. Looks like he'll miss the game. You're going to walk into this game with Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, and Paris Campbell, who,
and John Ross. Give us Ross.
Crazy.
He's fast.
Yeah, John Ross. Ooh, man, if we're depending on, that's rough. I mean, he is fast, but so is Quadri Ishmael.
I'll tell you what, right now, the one person that will be comfortable in this offense this week is Saquon Barkley, because for years he's played in New York with the same receivers.
Yeah. I think Dotson could show up this week. I think a lot of people are writing him off a little too early in Philly.
Oh, Jahan Dotson's a stud. I don't care what anybody says.
Move him around.
Stud.
I don't want to stick him on the outside the whole time and try to have him play like AJ Brown. That's the problem I have when we don't have AJ. You have other receivers. They're not AJ Brown. There's not another receiver on this roster that's AJ Brown.
Correct.
Right.
So rotate them. Put him in the slot some, put him on the left, put him on the right, put him in different positions so he doesn't always have the number one corner on him, right?
Oh,
same thing I said about Devontae Smith. Same thing I say about Britton Covey if he was playing. They're not AJ, so stop trying to use them like AJ.
I'll tell you this, and I mean it when I say it. Jahan Dotson, go turn on his Penn State highlights. That guy is one of the best bad ball catchers you'll ever meet. He has great hands. He caught balls from James Clifford Franklin. I'm kidding, but Sean Clifford was their quarterback over there. He stinks. Jahan Dotson put up 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season with Sean Clifford.
I mean, you had to see something in him to go get him, so use him.
First round draft pick.
Well, it's not that they're not seeing something in him. It's that the quarterback doesn't have the trust in him yet.
Correct.
That's the problem.
They don't have a choice this week. They're gonna have to be. They're gonna have to have sleepovers and build fort tents together and go over the playbook. All right, because let me tell
John
you,
Ross makes some good plays this week. I'll make sure that I remind Godfrey next week about the facey bait when I said John Ross.
listen, if he makes a play to win, I'll gladly be wrong. I'll die on that hill.
Just a play, any plays to help us in the game.
The one thing the Eagles have given me shivers about over the years is depth and preparing the guys behind the other guys to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say this. How many times do you have your top 3 leading receivers all out at the same time? If that happens to any team, Godfrey, they're not going to have the same depth. Come on, man. You're not going to have 6 guys.
No. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about where guys just don't look like they're prepared. They're not in the game. Like it just, I see other coaches do that, and I see other coaches do that.
I don't think it's fair for
who looks like they're not prepared. I don't see anybody look like they're not prepared. Who are you talking about?
We haven't seen that in the past. We haven't seen that, or
this year.
You can't say it's the past. It's a different regime.
This year, name them this year. Who from this roster is not prepared? That's what I want to know.
You can't say it. You can't.
Well, I'm not blaming any of the players, but I'm saying, like, it's so we're identifying it's the quarterback. No, Jahan Dotson. But when I hear people say, like, well, he was traded for a reason, well,
the question you asked in our chat was, you said, was the big play luck or design? You're talking about the Dallas Goedert play. I'm going to tell you something right now. It was design, and it was Jahan Dotson.
Right.
Yes,
you got to watch that play. Jahan Dotson slips in between 3 of those guys, and they run into each other. That was incredible. You know how important.
No, I saw that. That was not a question. That was a topic for the show.
I know, but do you know how great of a character player you have to be Jahan Dotson? To be a former first-round draft pick, get traded, have your targets completely taken away from you, and in one of the biggest plays of the game, you say, I'm a decoy, and I'm going to play this decoy role perfectly. I love that as a character thing.
Yeah, I love him too. I don't think anybody on the show is selling him short, but I do hear a lot of Philly fans selling Jahan Dotson short already, and I think they need to.
Well, a lot of Philly fans sell everybody short if they don't perform the first player of the first game.
Right.
That's nothing new.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jahan he's a talent. I mean, there's a reason why he's a first round pick, man. I'm a big believer in, especially receivers, when you're that high up and you showing it on the NFL level, you're very quarterback dependent, right? You could be the fastest guy in the world, the best hands. Like I could give you a million examples. Robert Brooks, after he got out of Buffalo and went to LA, he all of a sudden became a guy that was 1,000-yard receiver, right? I can give you a ton of examples. Jalen has no choice but to trust him this week because, listen, they should be able to put it on this Bucs offense. I mean, defense. Their defense ain't that great,
Bro,
and
you were out of your damn mind. You wearing the rose-colored glasses.
Did you not see that Denver game? Did you not see that Denver game?
I hate being this guy, and I'll be as wrong as you are next week if the Eagles go out and win this football game. Jalen Hurts is 1-3 against Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is the one that invented the blitz off the left side to make him roll left. Bro, I'm telling you right now, you got something coming if you think the Eagles are going to run through this Todd Bowles designed defense. Todd Bowles designed the defense that the rest of the league replicated to stop Jalen Hurts.
Where was that defense that to stop Bo Nix last week?
Bo Nix ain't Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is better than Bo Nix.
Right, but
no one
Bo
said
Nix
he
is gonna
wasn't.
throw
Right.
from the pocket more. Jalen Hurts is going to move more. If you want the best version
No,
of Jalen
Bo
Hurts,
Nix ran last week. I hate to tell you guys, but he ran. I watched a lot of the game. He ran last week.
No one say he didn't run, but the design for a defense against Bo Nix isn't to stop him from running. The design for the defense against Jalen Hurts is to make sure he rolls left and he cannot roll to his right side. It's a totally different structure.
They're missing some important players, like Antoine Winfield is not going to play. Okay,
yeah.
That's huge.
I guess we have everybody, and we're going to have our top tier offense.
But it doesn't matter. We have more talent on our team on the Eagles offense than they do on the Broncos side of the ball. The offensive line is atrocious on the Broncos. Okay, and they're missing players on that line.
Last week.
And they beat, and Baker Mayfield came back down to earth because, you know, he could be good, and you get 2 good ones, you get 2 turds. 2 good ones, 2 turds. I think they could absolutely beat this team.
Antoine Winfield is listed as questionable.
Missed practice today again.
He
has
worked on the side with trainers during practice.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't rule him out yet.
They said he missed it.
Play. But with that being said, they still have Vita Vea. They still have Levante David. They still have Jamel Dean. They still have Jordan Whitehead. They're not a bad defense. Kalijah Kancey, you talk about former Pitt left defensive end. That guy's a monster.
Yeah. Well,
do not roll through this Bucs team like this is going to be some sweet ride down there.
Gotta run the ball.
By the way, I'm picking the Buccaneers in this game.
Okay.
Slightly, very, very, very upfront. Because if AJ Brown and Devontae Smith do not play in this football game, Lane Johnson is not playing this football game, you're going to ask a lot out of Fred Johnson on that right side of that line.
Lane Johnson's been working on the side. He made
concussion protocol. You got to clear it.
I know, but I'm saying he has a lot better chance to clear than Devontae Smith, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He was barfing on the sideline, man, like crazy from that.
Did you see the play in which he got knocked out on?
I did.
Another dirty friggin' play.
Yes,
the Saints were headhunting that entire game, bro. They're a dirty friggin' team.
They are.
That's why Mekhi Becton got knocked out too.
Yeah, that was
dive head first into your, like, so dirty, and that's why Jalen Carter was losing his mind after that game. That's why Gardner Johnson went on Twitter after that game. Guys, if you don't want dogs, if you don't want people that want to go to war, if you don't want that, I don't know what to tell you, bro.
When announcers got it all wrong when they were talking about it.
Never mind. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say that. Go ahead.
Say it.
It's very inappropriate, even for me. Go ahead.
It's fair. Listen, I'll tell you right now. If you want to go to war and want to fight versus someone, I'd rather listen. Here's a quote I love saying, and it's one I stole from I heard on a podcast. I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather try to temper your emotion than try to get emotion out of you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's preview this game. Eagles Diva, I want to go to you first. What is your keys to victory for Philadelphia this week? Offensively, defensively. How would you attack this Buccaneers team offensively and defensively?
So offensively, I mean, we're down a lot of good players. To me, I think you got to run. This has to be a run-heavy game, in my opinion, because we know Ty Bowles does know how to pressure Jalen Hurts and make him roll to his left, which he's not good at, which is something he needs to work on. So I think that you really have to run the ball, like use your running backs this game, and run the ball. I don't understand what's wrong with running the ball. I feel like that. And then we don't know what the field's going to be like. We got the hurricane coming through. So you don't know what the field's going to be like. Run the ball. Use your running backs. As far as the defense goes, if they can show up like they did Sunday, get pressure on Baker Mayfield, because everybody know when Baker Mayfield is under pressure, he likes to throw interceptions. He doesn't make good decisions when he's under pressure. Keep the pressure on Baker Mayfield. Stop the run game and make sure that we get some type of pass rush, because our pass rush has been garbage. We actually did pretty good last week. So please step up the pass rush and make sure you're getting pressure on Baker Mayfield. I think that's the key. And as long as Jalen hold on to the ball and protect the ball, then I think we'll be all right. Just don't make him throw the ball in stress situations where he feels like he's got to make a big play. That's the problem. When he feels like he got to make a big play, that's when he ends up turning the ball over, throwing interceptions. So if you run the ball, always remember running the ball opens up the field. I don't know why we can't grasp that idea yet, but running the ball opens up the field, runs up the pass play protection. So that's my keys. It's just running the ball and making sure you're keeping pressure on Baker Mayfield and shutting down the run game.
Godfrey, what's your keys to victory this week?
I'm with her, running the ball. I mean, listen, they've been not good against the run this year. Listen, there's a thing called recency bias. Everybody hears Vita Vea and they're like, you can't run against the Bucs. That's not been true so far this year. Watch the games. I know what I saw on TV. They could be had. This is not the same team from last year. Okay, that Buccaneers team should not have been manhandled like they were by a Broncos team on the road at home. You know, Todd Bowles is a great coach, but he can't do anything for injury. And I just see a lot of holes in that defense so far this year. Yeah, they can make some plays, but you can run on them. They will be able to run on them. Even if Lane Johnson's out, they'll be able to run on them. And I'm fully confident saying that. They're not great at defending against pass catching running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs had a field day. They 12 catches, something like 12 targets, 5 catches, about 100 plus yards that week. I definitely see Saquon Barkley catching some passes out of the backfield. Dallas Goedert catching some passes. I see Jahan Dotson stepping up, catching some balls. I think the defense definitely can disrupt that offense. They've come back down to earth, and I could tell you that I feel pretty good in the Eagles offense. And, just watching them last week, I watched that game a lot specifically because the Eagles are playing them the next week. And I think they're going to be able to handle it. They run the ball. They play tight. They play the same type of defense they did. I'm not going to be worried about the Eagles in this game. It'd probably be ugly. It's a road game, but I think this is definitely a winnable game.
I mean, they're all winnable in the NFL, especially with the talent the Philadelphia Eagles have. But I think you chose the wrong game if you were talking about the being able to pass the ball to the running backs. The game I look at is the Commanders game, in which Austin Eckler had 4 receptions for 52 yards, Brian Robinson 3 receptions for 46. Now, they did a much better job defending Jahmyr Gibbs. He had 7 receptions for 22 yards. I think any defense will take that as far as defending the short pass game versus the running back. But I will say this. In order for Philadelphia to win this game, they have to play I mean this when I say this, very conventional football, which means run, take the points, play good defense, control the clock. If the Philadelphia Eagles are snapping the ball with more than 5 seconds on the game clock, I'm telling you right now, it's a mistake. You have to limit possessions when you're short offensive weapons. You have to keep your defense on the sidelines. They got to slow this game down. They have to. I'm not saying you have to run the football the whole game, because Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have to be thinking we got to stop the run if they don't have A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. They're going to be 8 men in the box. There's going to be times where you're going to have to throw the football, but it's got to be clever play designs. Look, I would love to see a trick play or two. I would love to see a play that keeps the Saints defense off guard. The screen game. And we haven't seen it so far this year. There's been no screen game for the Eagles. And I don't mean by the way, do not throw a tight end screen. If you throw another goddamn tight end screen, they ran 3 screens this year and 2 of them in the Dallas Goedert. Please stop doing that. Stop.
What about the Devontae Smith? That was my favorite last year.
Oh my God. Devontae Smith's blocking for it makes no sense. But
I'm going to disagree with Gene.
Good.
I want more tight end screens. I like Goddard getting the ball in space and making plays. You get a lot of it in the past.
You do not want more tight end screens.
I do want more tight end screens. I do. I'm saying this with a straight face, and I mean I'm not being funny. I do want more tight end screens, but I want them in the right situation. I don't want to just throw them to be thrown. I want them where it makes sense to
if you get him moving forward on a tight end screen where he's like lined up, like moving forward, fine. But if he stop motion, has to start motion on screen, it's not working. That's not going to work.
I mean, I didn't say he had to be standing still. I just said I want more screens. I like what he does out of the screen when he is moving. I agree. Now, for the game, there's a couple of things that we have to take into account. On offense, they're not going to have their center as of now. I think it's Goedeke, his last name. So, their right tackle. I apologize, I said their right tackle, Luke Goedeke. That's going to be important because it's a lineman that we're going to have a backup that we're going to be playing against, right? Jalen Carter, backups, I enjoy that matchup, but I think that's going to be in our favor. I think on defense, the thing we have to do is play like we did this week. Get pressure. Even if you don't get the sacks, get pressure. Make Baker Mayfield have to commit to doing what we complain about Jalen Hurts doing, and there's 1 or 2 reads, and then you got to get rid of the ball or get sacked. If you can do that to any quarterback in the NFL, you limit their ability to be great. I don't care if you're talking about Tom Brady, Joe Montana, whoever you want to talk, Dan Marino, who the freak ever. If you make them have a smaller window and they understand they don't have a lot of time, you can rival anyone. So I think we need to do that on defense and just play like we did this past week on defense. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on defense because we played good this past week. It looks like we figured it out. We just need to keep doing the same thing. On the defensive side of the ball, right now, Vita Vea is not playing. There's still time for that to change before the end of the week, as well as Kalijah Cansey. Again, there's still time for that to change. And then Antoine Winfield also. So if those three guys aren't there and we're missing our three guys on offense, I feel a lot better. I always assume that when the Eagles are playing someone and we're down players, that they're going to find a way for those players to play because it's just how the universe works. So whether they're there or not, offensively, I think we do need to use the run. We do need to switch it up. So far this season, we only run with Saquon Barkley and maybe one or two runs, but don't gain well. You've got three running backs. Use them in different situations. Will Shipley is a guy who can catch the ball as well. He's done that in college. Maybe we throw him in the slot a couple times and see what he's got. John Ross, talked about him earlier. End around with John Ross could be a big play we could use to bust one open. Think outside the box with the talent that you have. We're not going to sit there and throw the ball 40 times this game. Stop playing, right? We don't have the pieces to do that. But when we are doing it, make sure that it makes sense. Make sure that we're attacking weaknesses that we figure out within the defense. And as always, run the freaking ball. Good or bad, you run the ball, you can open up a play action. We may can get one down the field to a Dotson or a Goddard or somebody. But you have to run the ball for the other team to respect it. Even if they're going to put 8 in the box, run against it.
136 yards last week they gave up to the Broncos. 47 of that was to Bo Nix.
22 was on one run.
Yeah, Tyler Bleddy. But they still were running on them, and they out penaltied the Bucs, and they still were able to outgain them. They were 4 for 13 on third down. They weren't even efficient, and they couldn't even beat them. Watched a ton of that game.
Well, it's that time, bro. 6:57 score time. Give me your score. Give me your score prediction.
I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game, but I'm gonna go 24-14 Eagles.
Okay. 24-14 Eagles. I'll get the depressing shit out of the way. I think the Philadelphia Eagles lose this football game 20-13.
27-13 Eagles.
Damn, you got a 14-point win?
I do.
I love that. I love that. I wish I had your confidence going in this game. I was super confident. I was confident last week too. I was with you. I was on the boat. When you guys talking about them blowing out the Falcons, I said, I don't know about that one.
Man, I'm going to go 2017.
They should have blown out the Falcons.
2017 Eagles?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Eagles.
Look, I hope y'all are right. I hope I'm on this show next week looking like Godfrey.
Yep.
My counterfeit green, I would like to say Micah Parsons. So it's a two-parter. Micah Parsons, how about you worry about what's happening over there with Gerald Jones and your team? And the second part is Jerry Jones. Let's not get on camera and talk about the size of your players' meat, bro.
Yo, he turned that camera off so quick. Did you see that?
Jamie Foxx.
I didn't see that one.
Bro, Godfrey, you have to watch that.
Yeah. That's probably what's wrong with them. That's probably what was wrong with them this week.
Yeah.
Their secret got out. And they mad.
Yeah, my counterfeit green is for all the Eagles fans calling Jalen Hurts Wentz 2.0. I think that's crazy. I think they need to exercise some patience.
The similarities are there.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, he do have some wins moments.
Yeah.
He holds the ball. He's someone got figured out. He had the great week.
The thing about that's different him and Wentz never talks about he was never the same quarterback after those two injuries. And he was never going to be the same
quarterback after they won a Super Bowl without him.
Right.
Either way,
more here.
Either way, I think Jalen's he's not soft between the ears like he was. Okay. And I will put it to you this way. Sometimes you got to show extra, a little patience with your franchise quarterback. He should definitely be getting better. But, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. He was never really great. Right. Let's calling someone Wentz 2.0 after Wink 3, after the dudes took you to Super Bowl in his first 3 years as a starter.
Not after week 3. Let's call it like it is. He had a very 2018 Wentz-like season.
Yeah,
last year. Just to be clear,
and you're the highest paid quarterback on the team.
But I do think he was a little injured at that year last year, and you see a lot more spring in his step.
Didn't have that back injury in 2018. I'm sorry. I'm doing too much. I'm not trying to do it like that.
Yeah, but Carson also went to 2 other teams that thought he might have a shot, and it flamed miserably. You know what I
I'm
mean?
hoping that Jalen Hurts is not Carson 2.0.
He's not. He's more mentally tough than he is, and I think Jalen has shown the ability to grow. It's not perfection, but like, listen, you got to look at quarterback play around the NFL. I mean, listen,
think
is he
we've
playing
seen
like
his
MVP right now? No, he's
I think
not.
we've seen his peak.
Jalen has to grow some balls, man. Like when you
Yeah.
have a high ball IQ as he does, when you see plays that your offensive coordinator or coach is calling, you know it's not going to work. You're out there looking at the defense. You have to audible the plays. You have a high ball IQ, so you should not still be making those mistakes.
Mhm.
And the fact that they said he went 600 and something yards during training, had no turnovers, but then the season starts and you just start turning the ball up.
Yeah,
I mean, so you got to be smarter than that. When you have a high ball IQ, you have to be smarter and make smart plays and give what the defense is giving you and scan the ball. I mean, scan the field, man. It's simple, basic football mistakes that Jalen is making. And I feel like, he's going into they're out 4th year almost. Like it's got to get better. Like we shouldn't be having as many mistakes as we have been now from Jalen.
My counterfeit green is Peyton Turner. Bring him up again. I'm gonna spit on you, scumbag.
Right.
Right.
Bro, I'm not a fan. We gotta wrap it up though. We got another show to get on. Y'all got another show to get on. How we doing tonight? Let's finish it out. Let's close it out. Eagles Diva, tell us where we can find you, listen to you.
Man, I'm on Eagles Elite every Wednesday. Catch us at 8:30. That's where I'm at. That's where y'all can catch us at. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Love it. Love it. Cool's got the link tree in the bio. Cool. Send us out with something cool. They can't all hear you. I'm just kidding.
Piss on you, Jerry Jones, and you like to be pissed on.
You like to be
Wow.
diddy.
No. Major Diddy.
Check us out on Sideline to Sideline. We're starting in about 10 minutes. Going to preview all NFL, break down the NFL from previous week, and preview tonight's Giants-Cowboys game. D. Godfrey, send us out.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Well, on that note, thanks for tuning in, y'all, and catch you next week. Hopefully, we're having another Victory Thursday. But this is the Godfrey, Cool, Eagles Diva, and Gene. Not saying goodbye, just saying take it birds deep.